Now let's get into week 2 of the AFL finals. Kicking off on Friday night will be the Adelaide Crows playing host to the Hawthorn Hawks. With Adelaide needing a big bounce back after a disappointing display against Collingwood last week in the qualifying final, this is their second and only chance to make a prelim. While on the other hand, we have the Hawks coming off an impressive, albeit rollercoaster affair against the Giants, dominating most of the game but letting it almost slip away, only to fight back and have a chance at a prelim. Another time in Adelaide. Can they make it this year to the prelim? We'll find out. Now let's look at the ins and outs. Big call from Adelaide, bringing in Josh Shelley after not playing for like 8 weeks after that knee injury. It's a pretty big gamble from him. I don't know if he's going to be starting as a sub or what they're... Wait, I don't know if they have that. They don't have the subs and everything listed yet, so they've just brought in him for Hugh Bond. I imagine he'd play the sub role. He's pretty underdone. It's a pretty big call, even though he could be a game swinner. He kicked 2 or 3 goals in a quarter. He's one of those kind of players that are mercurial and can be a difference maker. And on the other side, Hawthorn have had dropped Cal Shadia. I think he's injured. Can't remember if he's injured or not. It just got dropped. Mitch Lewis is a pretty big in. It's just like for like, really. Mitch Lewis is a bit more of an established player. Cal Shadia probably has a brighter future, but yeah, Mitch Lewis is probably more the ready-made player at the moment, so that's a big in for the Hawks. Yeah, the bookmakers are finding it hard to split them as well. Adelaide has a slight edge, obviously, being the home team and winning the minor premiership. They do get the kind of nod that you'd kind of expect in this matchup. You kind of have to go with the minor premiers and the team being at home and the one off in the top 4, so yeah, they're using slight edge. Not that Hawthorn can't win this. They're very big. They're a very big shout in this one. Let's look at the recent counters between the two sides. There was that seesaw affair, round 21, just before the end of the season, where both teams had the lead. All the goals were kicked at one end, so it was like a bit of a weird game to look at. And there was a game earlier in the year where the Hawthorn beat Adelaide in Tasmania briefly. So there's been 2 very close encounters in the year before. There's a blowout, obviously, when the Crows weren't flying as much. So I think this one promises to be a close game within 2 to 3 goal margin. Definitely anything beyond that would be a bit of a surprise to me. I mean, Adelaide's form was pretty decent. They got wins over like poor oppositions, but they did get the job done. And then last week, obviously, very disappointing. Collingwood did play well, but Adelaide were just way off it. Conversely, Hawks had a bit of a mixed form coming into the finals, but they were quite impressive against the Giants, especially in the midfield and down back. They were very solid. So yeah, Hawthorn, very big chance in this one, yeah. I mean, the team stats are pretty even, as most of the finals opposition seem to be. It's like, how do you call it though? My professional opinion as a professional commentator on the AFL, not really. I didn't give Hawthorn much of a chance last week. I gave him a bit of a chance. I was like, I expect the Giants to win, but I didn't say the Hawks couldn't win. But this time, I don't know, I've just got a funny feeling that the Hawks will get this done. Adelaide just seem cooked. Their midfield, most especially, seems the most susceptible. Like, their back line's doing pretty decently. Forward line's functioning okay, but their midfield is just getting destroyed at the moment. It seems the key is if you shut down Jordan Dawson's impact, then you're going to have free reign to the midfield, and the Hawthorn's midfield has been pretty dominant lately, so they should have first crack. So I'm actually going to pick the Hawks, even though probably last week was a bit of bias. I don't mind the Giants, and I'm not a really big fan of the Hawks. A few of their players piss me off quite excessively. But yeah, this week, I don't know, I've got the feeling that the Hawks are going to win by 11 points in a pretty close matchup. Obviously, I'd prefer Adelaide to win this one, being I don't like the Hawks' current squad, but yeah, I don't know. Got the feeling that the Hawks will win. Of course, let me know what you think. And yeah, the finals are getting exciting now. We're getting close to the sticky end of it. We went out of footy for 6 months, so we've got to enjoy those last couple of games we got. Well, with that, let's go. Now let's keep week 2 of the AFL finals rolling with the Brisbane Lions playing host to the Gold Coast Suns and a real spicy matchup in Queensland. The Q Clash has never been this meant this much to them. First time in the finals they're meeting, and yeah, it's going to be an absolute fucking. It's going to be absolute fucking. It's going to be an absolute fucking spectacular. I don't know. I was trying to think of superlatives I could use, but I was caught a bit short. But it's going to be an exciting one. Brisbane coming off an absolute just demolition job by the Cats. The Cats are just a way better side, and Brisbane look pretty underdone. You wonder how they'll bounce back. They've bounced back pretty well throughout this year, being one of the top teams in the competition for 4 or 5 years now. You'd expect a response, but these Gold Coast Suns look ready to go. Speaking on the Suns, they had the biggest win in their club's history so far, having that spirited win over Fremantle in a game that Fremantle could not lose, and they somehow found a way to lose it. But yeah, it's got to give credit to Gold Coast in that one. That 2.5 quarters, they were absolutely dominant, and then that last quarter, they just held their nerve, just performed when they needed to. They were just the better team on that day, but it does bode well for this matchup that Brisbane are a little bit down in form, and Gold Coast have nothing to lose, and they're just playing with all the confidence and all the bravado in the world. So really encourages a big matchup. Some outs and ins. Gold Coast Suns go on in unchanged, so I guess David Swallow's still the super sub. He made a big impact in the last quarter last week, so I'll be hoping he can do similar this week. And on the flip side, the Lions have had one force change. Lockie Neal done for the rest of the year. They brought in Bruce Reveal for him, more of a defensive type, so they can swing someone from the back line into the middle. They have to shuffle the magnets a bit, but yeah, Bruce Reveal's in. Good hard-nosed defensive type player, which could help them with the big bodies of the Gold Coast Suns. And Sam Day's dropped for Oscar McInerney, so let's look at how they're going to shape up. According to the early team sheet, yeah, I'm trying to figure out this plan of 2 rucks, I guess, to combat Jared Witt's impact, being one of the best tap ruckmen in the game. He's not like... He's one of the top 15 rucks in the game. He's still good, but he's more of a tap ruckman. Can take a mark, but doesn't really get as much done around the ground, so they're obviously trying to curb his impact with having Oscar McInerney and Darcy Ford in the team. Oscar McInerney can pretty effectively pinch hit forward. He can take a mark. He can kick a goal here and there, so it makes sense to me that he's in. Now let's look at the summary of match preview. I don't know. Yep. Cool. The Lions are pretty strong, pretty decent favourites for a final. They're almost being $1 ahead, so that's pretty interesting. Even though the Suns did dominate last time they played each other. Obviously people don't see it that way. Yeah, the recent counters, 66-point absolute demolition. But then again, early in the year, Brisbane had it pretty comfortable there over the Suns. They could have won. It was only 17-point margin, but they were cruising in that game. They could have won by 40+ points. And obviously, most of the recent history goes Brisbane's way. Yeah, the recent form's quite similar. Like Brisbane have been up and down. They've been pretty strong. Like one of the kind of like a half premiership favourite one week, and then next week they're just very poor. But they seem to rise to the occasion against good opposition most of the time, except for last week. Obviously, they got jumped well and truly. And Gold Coast have just been like beating up on the teams below them up until the finals. And then, yeah, they lost to the Giants pretty handily. Then they got that big win against Fremantle. So they're kind of a hard team to call. Their best is good enough to beat the better teams, but the gap between the best and the worst is pretty sparse at the moment. So it's kind of hard to decide this game. It's like which Gold Coast are you going to get? Brisbane are fairly consistent. Like you kind of know what you're going to get from them week to week. But cool, this is a tough one to call. Obviously, I like to go to Brisbane to win. They are my second favourite team in the AFL, and my team that I like to win the premiership again. That are still in the race. They're my top team in that respect. Do I go for another bold upset? I just have to believe that Lions can get this game won. And if they're going to win, it has to be 20+ points. So I'm going to pick Brisbane to win by 22 points. Not saying that Gold Coast have no chance. It all depends on that first quarter. Really, the first quarter is key. If Brisbane can have a couple goal lead and just kind of massage the play and uh, control the tempo, then that goes a long way for them to winning. Not that saying 12-point lead in the first quarter means a lot, but the Suns rely on that bash crash, just get it and go kind of play. And if they can't get that, if Brisbane can control the tempo, control the style of play, then yeah, they're too classy of an outfit to be overdone there. But hey, who knows what's going to happen on Saturday afternoon, evening. It's kind of one of those things, yeah, it could go either way, but I'm going to give the edge to the Lions, being a hardened, competitive side, and Suns' just first finals campaign. They're riding off their high against Fremantle last week. It's kind of hard to back that up, but we'll see what happens. Of course, let me know what you think about this. Can the Suns keep the good winning feeling going and keep riding into a prelim, even a grand final? That would be crazy, actually. That would be one of the craziest things I would go for. If Suns make it to the prelim, that would be my new favourite team to win it, because that'd be pretty crazy for them to win it. But I'm just going to say, yeah, the Lions, another prelim. Anyway, can't wait for this game. This game should be exciting. Thanks for watching, and be back for next week's prelim previews and look ahead.